Hi, Sheila. Nice to see you again.
Yes, pleasure for me.
Last time, if you remember, last time that we met, it was October 19, when you attended our symposium. But, well, it has been a difficult year since then.
It was.
Year. And by the way, we were fascinated by your lecture along with Miguel Marcet, because you were together in our symposium explaining what you are doing in Switzerland. And well, we are very happy to know that you are going to contribute again to our next book, since you made a brilliant contribution, our third book, and this will be a new chapter. But first, I would like you to ask you, how did you begin with hypnosis?
So it was it was in the context of my training in diabetology, actually. I was at that time doing my specialization in internal medicine, and at the same time I went into the diabetology. And what was interesting at that point is that managing chronic patients was always a little bit frustrating because everything was focused on what was going wrong and how we can accompany those patients in their daily life, making sure they can actually connect with something else than what's wrong. And in this regard, the hypnosis give me the possibility to actually focus on what were the possible way to accompany them in their own management, asking them to actually reveal their resources also in the medical field. And in a second step, I went in gerontology for almost 8 years, and managing elderly with diabetes. And at that point was actually the interesting point was how to use something else than drug and medication in patients very sick and very old with some kind of difficulty to use all the treatment and add a new drug for a new problem. And in this regard, again, to accompany them to actually with a positive memory of what have been their life as a professional person, as a family person, as a grandma, grandfather, was a very, very resourceful moment, and to reactivate a person.
A real challenge for a therapist. And I have read when you were when you're writing your chapter in our third book, that sometimes your hypnosis, your hypnotic process, was even without words.
Exact.
Sometimes a little touch, a little support, physical support, and a gaze, perhaps. Will you tell us about this? It seems very difficult to get in touch with the patient at a deep level without words.
Yes, actually, is really related to the presence. And I have to say that when you are in presence of a an old person with all his lifespan behind, and their a rich story of life. Sometimes it's really the fact to enter in a human connection, and he goes really behind the words. It's really the presence, is really the view connection, and sometimes just the fact to connect with the intention, and sometimes it's really a matter of pace. What has been really a very huge learning for me has been when I was in the emergency room taking care of the elderly there. The emergency room is just a crazy world because everything is running fast, and is very noisy. Everything is built up anxiety. And in this field, when you have to connect with an old person with acute disease or entering in an emergency room, sometimes the first moment where you just connect with the person, slowing down the pace, either with your motion or just with the pace of the voice, is already something that he put in place, a setting which is something that is careful and caring, and already he brings some kind of peace and safe place. And I ended up just to build up that in this moment where it's crazy all around us, and sometimes it was already the moment that slowing down the pace and creating a connection with this person, just a relationship just made on few seconds. It was already the moment where it's possible to, after ask few questions and build up something that is really more than just give a treatment. Is give care, give attention, give a safe place. And
and you also need some good self-control. Self-control,
sure.
Do you use self-hypnosis procedures?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes is actually in this moment right now, where in Geneva, I think like in Spain, in Madrid, everything is running crazy. Sometimes
Right.
the fact to do self-hypnosis, to put ourselves in a kind of anchor ourselves in a kind of safe place, and in a pace that is a little bit slower, slowing down to just keep our mind fresh and clear,
Yes.
to protect our mind to not be absorbed by somebody else's pace, somebody else's craziness and confusion. And I think it's something that I learned at that time, and is really helpful right now, I suppose.
Yes, it's a very dangerous and difficult moment, but well, I think we all are doing our best in this situation, and well, we hope 2021 will be a better year, because 2020 has been very difficult. And well, I like you to tell us also about your chapter your next chapter along with Miguel Marcet. Last week I was talking to Miguel Marcet also, and well, we were talking a bit about progressions, about well, about some of the subjects that we are going to deal with on your next chapter. What's your idea about it? What are you going to tell?
I think what would be interesting is to how to anchor in the here and now, meaning when it's difficult to just have a clear view of the future, and when the past is so charged on emotion, probably the best way to go is to be aligned with our roots here and now. And I think, again, the important key point would be the body, and how to use the breathing, our weight, our heartbeat, to just reset ourselves in a kind of a healthy way to clarify our mind, and to, before taking the next step, just actually be on the best way possible, clear and safe with ourselves. And in this regard, more than building up a very complex intellectual projection, I think to just anchor in our body, in what's is resourceful in ourselves, could be probably the first easy and helpful step before building up whatever. Even more, I think, in a period like the one we are going through, where all the reference points are kind of exploding. And so when it's difficult to project ourselves, it's always interesting to go back to where we are coming from, our roots, our history, our family, and I think even now our old generation, and what we are carrying in ourselves of our ancient. And in these days where there's a big separation between generations, the young people are not allowed to see their parents or their grandparents. And I think it's really important that we can, in some ways, connect with all those generations in ourselves, because is our future is built there. And probably something that I'm imagining to put in this chapter too.
Well, it will be a very interesting chapter, of course, as every time that we have seen you working. Well, I appreciate the very good level of hypnosis that you are using in Switzerland, because I think in Switzerland there is great consideration of hypnosis as a very serious technique, but serious doesn't mean boring.
For sure.
Because creative therapist too, because you are working in a, well, I should say, Ericksonian line, Ericksonian style, and I think that you are in agreement if we say that hypnosis is a kind of background and there are some interventions that are not designed to program a behavior, program a thought. This was old-fashioned hypnosis.
Yeah.
Now, trying to make emerge these hidden resources that you were mentioning before.
Sure. Sure.
And it's a work that most people perhaps don't know. Most people think that hypnosis is still the old-fashioned way when the patient unconscious was as a dummy, that you have to talk, saying very rigid suggestions. But I think one of the things that you are telling us, and that you will tell in your chapter also, it's this new, not so new really, because it is coming from the 20th century, but it's in a certain way it's new. It's a new concept of hypnosis that has been developing along the years.
Yeah, sure. I think is a really a creative way, and to let a person be really the actor in its own life and its own healthy situation in their mind, body, and life in general. We are, as a professional, we accompany them, and we are the witness of a process of transformation and of evolution sometimes, and is magic. It is what, in my opinion, is magic.
Yes, that's true. I agree. It's a magic, a kind of magic that I think hypnosis, and I was telling this also to Consuelo Casula. She's Italian too, as you know. I was telling psychotherapy is also an art. It's science, but it's also an art. And when we are talking about this kind of hypnosis, I think it's real. It's a real art.
Sure.
And I don't know if sometimes we can learn, or it's something that we have inside. What do you think?
I think it's both.
Probably.
It's something that we learn as we go, and sometimes the fact to connect with a patient, with a story, with an experience, can touches us, it touches some part of us, and is a kind of dance made between two person, and is what makes the connection that we can create with a patient in this setting that hypnosis allows, that creates a kind of a creative world.
And well, tell us a secret. Which is your favorite hypnosis book? Have you got one?
I really loved the fact that we had the possibility in the book we built a little bit together to really have all the specialties meeting together, and actually is I think is the real testimonial that we can speak the same language and go in a kind of a creative space coming from all different backgrounds. That in the book we build together. You have psychiatrists, anesthesia, people working with anesthesia, chronic pain, rheumatology. I'm a gerontologist and diabetologist. So I think it's really a great point of the book we have get the chance to build together. And another book I really was really interesting for me is the one that is Created the Real of Thierry Melchior, which is a psychologist from Belgium. And he really built a great learning around the languages and the key point of the words we can use in hypnosis.
Well, I'll have to write it down. So I will ask you to send me the Bible.
With pleasure.
Yes. And I don't want if you would like to add something about your career, about whatever you want to mention.
What to say more? I think the meeting I had with hypnosis really add something special of my daily practice. And I really, when I started medical school, I was thinking how to repair, how to help, and actually do my part to bring the people in a safe situation. And after years in the practice of the medicine, it was a kind of learning how to respect the pace, the life, the destiny of everybody we meet, in which being humble and doing our best for the small part that we can in some way influence. And probably we give our best to do this minimal and essential part that we can add each time we meet somebody, our patients, in our daily life, I mean, as professional. And the thing is probably what I'm learning every day, and what I've been learning with hypnosis, how to be humble and let the thing happen when they're ready to be happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is difficult and easy at the same time. Not so easy and maybe not so difficult because, I think you're a very intuitive person.
I hope. I learn every day.
Well, it has been pleasant to have a chat with you, and I hope that we are going to meet face to face as soon as possible.
With pleasure.
Will go better, I suppose things will go better, and we'll find we'll meet in another symposium, presential symposium, not online. But well, now it has been pleasant, and good luck, and thanks for your.
Take care. Thank you.
Have a virtual hug.
You too. Thank you for this chat.
Thanks for you.
Bye-bye.